What's up, people? This is Stealth Ranger 77 here, and here I'm bringing you a video. It's finally here, guys. It's going to be my tips and recommendations for the long and just crazy process of getting Dark Matter Camo. And I'm going to start off by saying it's going to take a lot of commitment. That's my biggest thing with this, is that you have to understand that every second, every game that you're playing on this, if you truly want to complete Dark Matter Camo in a plausible amount of time, you have to dedicate every second in every game to attempting to complete some type of challenge with a weapon. Be it, just taking out score streaks with a launcher, or just on the odd occasion, playing for the headshot with a weapon. You have to be really, really wary of what's going on, and understanding that, this is a task that you cannot take lightly. And once you start, swaying off the beaten path of actually going for these challenges, you're going to find yourself lagging and lagging behind, and it's going to take you forever. So that's my biggest tip, is that you have to take this seriously. It's not something that you can take lightly. So every game that you're playing, you have to be completing a challenge. And if you can do two things at once, like lots of times if you're completing headshot bounties with an assault rifle, or say like an LMG, what I would commonly do is I would run one of the launchers as a secondary, and when they toss up score streaks, I just take it down. So if you can kill two birds with one stone, I would totally tell you to do that, because by the time I finish the main weapons, I'd already finished my launchers at the same time. So that's the optimal goal, is going as fast as you possibly can. Now if I'm to start off, say we start off talking about the assault rifles. My biggest thing is that if you're a rushing player, right? If you love to push the enemy, the game type that I'm going to tell you to do is going to be probably not what you'd expect. I'm not going to say do objective type core based. I'm going to tell you to do hardcore. Main reason why is because rather than it taking 4 bullets to kill, because if you didn't know, the headshot multiplier isn't very high on assault rifles, LMGs. It's just a 1.1. So you're not doing that much damage. So a headshot isn't just going to win you the kill, right? But if you do hardcore, most weapons, even submachine guns, only take 1 or 2 bullets to kill. So if you run, my biggest tip with assault rifles, once you use them a bit, run high caliber on them, okay? And use hardcore. Use hardcore to your advantage, and play the lines of sight. That's the biggest thing, because I remember playing in core right away. That's what I started off with, and I was getting, maybe 10 headshots a game, and I was like, hey, this is a good game. But then I thought, I was like, hey, why don't I try out hardcore, just see what it was like. And my very first game, I get 20 headshots. I double how many headshots I get in core. And I was like, wow. And then I was, just to check if it was a coincidence, I play another game, and I get just about the same amount of headshots. And I was like, wow, this can't be a coincidence. And then I started testing further and further things, like running high caliber, like I'm suggesting to you right now. Doing these attachments and using a hardcore will benefit you so much rather than playing core. I'm going to tell you that right now. And I actually learned to prefer hardcore just playing the game style, because I felt it was a better test of your actual gun skill and just total player awareness, because it's all about who gets that first bullet. So in my opinion, it was it kept room away for bullshit, right? So you're not gonna die by something stupid happening, and I learned to appreciate that. So if I'm to suggest anything for the assault rifle and the LMGs, I'm gonna tell you to toss on and it's unfortunate because high caliber is only for assault rifles and pistols, but when you can run high caliber, 100% do it. It's going to totally benefit you, because it's going to go from a 1.1 multiplier in your weapon to a 1.6. It's going to boost you 0.5. It's going to boost you 50%, which is, you wouldn't believe how much of an effect it has, especially in hardcore. So that's what I'm going to tell you to do. And if you, like I was trying to mention earlier, if you're a rushing type player, the ARs and the light machine guns are probably going to be the, and I would say snipers. But with snipers, you can just run core objective type game types, because you just need one-shot kills for those. Except for the Draken, I would suggest hardcore, and this is going to apply to the same category as LMGs and assault rifles. And look at this lagging bastard just going around. That's so stupid how he killed me. But I digress. What I'm going to say is, for you aggressive players, that's probably going to be the toughest thing for you, is because hardcore is truly going to benefit you, but if you really like to rush around, you're going to find yourself dying more. So you have to learn to lay back, play the lines of sight, and let the enemies come to you. If you can learn to do that, I promise you, you'll be successful, okay? Now, if you play that style normally, the pistols and the submachine guns are going to be, and the freaking brecci and the haymaker are going to be a pain in the ass too. Because you have to rush style. It's not going to work if you don't. And I would say with the brecci, you should be able to do core because it actually has a ridiculous headshot multiplier. It's 1.4 normally. So if you just run laser sight and hip fire or do chaos mosh pit, you should be pretty successful there. I know that was I got that one faster than the haymaker. The haymaker, I wanted to cry. You ask any of my friends if they comment on these videos. You just ask them how the haymaker was. It was awful, and I should have done hardcore. And I'm regretting every second that I suffered through core with that weapon, because it's like 3 and sometimes even 4 shots with that, and it was terrible. But like I said, if you're a laid-back player, submachine guns, pistols, and the 2 shotguns are probably going to be a bit of a struggle for you. So you have to learn to adapt to the weapon. And in my opinion, that's why I think Dark Matter is such a cool test. And I think this was another reason that attracted me so much to the camo. Not only because of the prestige of having it, but just because it truly advanced me as a player. And I felt it showed true skill to be able to master every weapon. Not only with just getting headshots, but then the other challenges, whether it be bloodthirsties, double kills, anything like that. I thought it was just something cool to have as, you know, almost a badge of honor. And so why don't we just go over, you know, the main stuff that I mentioned so far. You have your snipers, which is going to be one-shot kills, play core objective game types, excluding the Draken, do hardcore for that. And then with pretty much all the other weapons, so being assault rifles, LMGs, and submachine guns, I'm going to suggest that you do hardcore, because if you can learn to adapt to the weapon, learn its recoil pattern, all you have to do is just aim a little bit higher or just pinpoint your shots. I would also suggest if you're playing at a high sensitivity, you lower it, because the biggest thing in this is accuracy, not about turning on somebody, right? Because you're watching mostly line of sights, so that's not as big a factor in hardcore. So the biggest one is going to be accuracy. So you got to make sure that you're going to hit those shots, because if you don't, the enemy probably is, and he's going to kill you, because he's probably running a Vesper or something crazy, and he's just going to mollywop you. So you have to be wary of that. Also, be wary of stupid teammates, because I know one thing I found super frustrating is that I'd be, say, on 4 kills, about to get a bloodthirsty, and some stupid teammate would check a frag into the room and kill me. So friendly fire is on. Be wary of that. And it's not like it's life or death, but the fact is that if something like that happens, it's going to frustrate you. And that frustration just builds and builds and compiles on itself, and it's gonna take a huge toll on you. And I wish I would have been more aware of how much of an effect it would have had on me, because I found certain times where I was just like, I didn't feel like playing because, you know, I wasn't prepared for these things. And that's why I'm making this video, so that you guys understand where and when to be, and what to try to avoid, and what to take advantage of. And those are just a couple of things. Now we move on. Like I said, assault rifles, just and LMGs, you know, play a bit more distant and do hardcore. I suggest hardcore Dom. That's mainly what I played for that. If you want to do free-for-all for submachine guns and pistols, be my guest. Now, the one thing that's weird about secondaries, the one that you have to do, and is probably going to be the most frustrating out of all of them, is going to be the combat knife. You know, if you enjoy kind of challenge like that, then it's going to be the weapon for you. But it was extremely frustrating for me, especially getting the bloodthirsties, which is after you have to get 200 regular kills, and then you have to get 5 bloodthirsties. And then another one that was really tough was getting the 5 kills where you kill somebody and then you have to kill them with your own weapon. So with the combat knife, I would definitely suggest going into Chaos Mosh Pit, because you're going to be up and close with the enemies and basically just play house. Play one of the houses and just understand where they're spawning. And if you can really get a feel for that, and Dark Matter, I think, really helped me and benefited me as a player, because I learned to adapt to the spawns, learned to adapt to different movements of enemies, and I feel like my accuracy got better. So that should aid you there. And then once again, shotguns, just one shot for the Argus and the KRM, so those shouldn't be too bad. Just do, you know, fast-paced core type gameplays. Game type Sprechi, you could probably do the same thing. I would suggest Chaos Mosh Pit. That's where I did that there. And for the Haymaker, Hardcore. And with the launchers, try to complete those before you finish all of the other primary weapons, because that's going to make it easiest on you. If not, try to play objective game types. Once again, I suggest Chaos Mosh Pit, because most people are going to be running, after you take out those 100 score streaks, you're going to have the Hardened Sentries, the Guardians, and the Power Cells. You have to take out 10 of those, which is tough, and then you have to take out 5 Cerebruses or Talons. And so if you're playing Chaos Mosh Pit or some objective game type, that's going to be easiest for you there. And that should cover all the bases that I want to. Once again, it's a long and vigorous process. It's not easy. It's going to take a lot of dedication. That's the biggest thing. Just make sure that you're focused in, and you should be able to complete it on time. I hope this video helped you guys out in any way. I really do, because this is like my 5th take on it, and I want to make sure I got most of the stuff right. I already know I went past the video, but I wanted to make sure that I got everything in there. I didn't leave it short, because I want you guys to be as successful and way more successful than I am, or I was, because I could have done it faster, and I want you guys to be as efficient as possible. That was this video's purpose, and I hope it succeeded. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you're still with me, I really appreciate it, and I hope this video can help and aid you to succeed in achieving Dark Matter Camo. Go out there and get that badass look. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Have a great day.